Hello there, welcome to Nerd.World Films, the channel where I discuss everything I love or sometimes hate about the various different universes of the world of movie worlds. Now, today it's a Nerd Talks on a movie that I grew up in. I loved it when it first came out. It's The Craft, starring Robin Tunney and Fairuza Balk, who is one of my many childhood crushes. In fact, I still think she's pretty hot. Just saying, if you've seen her in Lost in Space, she's crazy, and you know, I always seem to like the crazies. Before we get started, please like, share, subscribe, comment down below. Please check out my other two channels, Nerd.World and Nerd.World History, that are both still growing channels like this one is, and I need lots of support to help get them a bit more off the ground. So if you want to check them out, see if there's anything on them you like. If you do, like, share, subscribe over there too. And before we get properly into the video, I'd just like to plug my sponsor, Relentless Rebels, who specialise in Viking style jewellery. If that's something that you feel you will be interested in, click the link below, go through their website, have a nice look around, see if there's anything you do or don't like. If you do like something and you get to check out, use the promo code NERD20, all in capitals, and you'll get a 20% discount. This helps my channel and it helps you. You get a discount. Everyone's happy. And now after that very long intro, let's get started talking about The Craft. Our story of The Craft focuses primarily around the character played by Robin Tunney, Sarah Bailey. Her and her family move to a new small town in America. When she goes to the new school, she falls in with a sort of trio of outcasts as she quickly doesn't fall in line with the status quo of the school. The leader of this little trio is played by Fairuza Balk, and she's called Nancy. Now, at first, her friends, who have a somewhat interest in the occult as well, continue their friendship and they build on it, and they begin experimenting, casting little spells, trying to do little bits and pieces, eventually figuring out they've got some real power and they begin to use it to their advantage. One uses it to remove the scars from her body. Another one uses it to curse the mean girl, make all of her hair fall out. Whatever it is that makes them feel good. But Nancy, who's a little bit twisted, begins to use the power recklessly. Now, Skeet Ulrich's character, who's a bit of a lech and quite frankly a bit of a prick, and has been on Sarah's back, he is attacked by Nancy using magic, and he's taken out of the picture, basically. Sarah at this moment realizes that her friends maybe aren't really her friends, and they're a little dangerous. So she tries to get away from them, but in doing so incurs their wrath, and they try to come after her. So she fights back with the only weapon she's got, her magic, and is able to quite easily, well, not easily, but she's able to defeat them, bind their powers, particularly those of Nancy's, and prevent them from using them against her or anyone else again. And later at the end of the movie, the other two friends, they come back to her house and they're like, oh, you know, it was all Nancy's fault, and we just want to hang out and cast some more spells. And when she refuses, or more accurately sort of brushes them off with some platitudes, they try to walk away, making a snide remark about how she had no real power anyway. And then she's able to basically bring down some witchy thunder on them and show them that the power was always coming from her, that they were just leeching off her. They had no real power. She was the one with the power. The story is effectively a story of empowerment, obviously. It's pretty obvious. And it's an element of teen angst and coming of age, usual crap from the 90s, quite frankly. But it's very well crafted. I genuinely didn't mean that to be a pun. There it is, though. It's a well-made, well-acted film with a cast of characters and actors who are at the heights of their career in the mid-90s. And as someone who was a 90s kid, I grew up with movies like this. Great film. It's a nostalgia movie for me. I don't know if it is for you, but it is for me, and I really enjoy it. Now, that's the basic story in brief of The Craft. Now, talking cast, as I said earlier, these are like, it was effectively the who's who of who did you have the hots for or who was great in the mid to late 90s, and for me it was pretty much everyone in this. Now, I'll be honest, I wasn't a huge Robin Tunney fan, still not. She was in a few things I kind of knew, and I think to me this was the main thing I knew her from. And when she turn up in something else, I go, look at Thingy from The Craft. Fairuza Balk, beautiful woman, lovely actress in everything, obviously, well, quite a few things nowadays. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, she's in the TV series Lost in Space, which, by the way, if you've not seen, it is fantastic. You should go and watch. I'm going to keep saying that every time I mention Lost in Space. Really go watch it, it's very good. But she was also in things like Blade Trinity, stuff like that. Very good actress, plays a good villain. Also, as I said, beautiful. Then you've got Neve Campbell, and does she really need any additional introduction? Scream, literally the queen of Scream, the Scream Queen. I've got to stop with the puns. I don't mean for them to just flow out, they just kinda do. Rachel True, Skeet Ulrich, another veteran of the Scream movies, which came out, obviously the first Scream came out the same year as this, in 1996. Obviously that film directed by Wes Craven, this film directed by Andrew Fleming. And I'll be honest, I had to look him up, because I don't know him from anything else, and when I had a look at his directorial filmography, it's mostly things I don't recognize. So before and after this, he only directed a couple of films before this, like something called Threesome, which did initially draw my attention, but generally speaking, I don't know who he is, and sorry if you like him, but he doesn't seem to have really directed anything, so to me this is his kind of grand opus. It's the main thing that he's done. Other than that, you've got, again, it's that guy from this, that woman from that kind of cast, which is nothing wrong with that. It's kind of a nice thing to constantly spot. And as I said, that is the cast of Craft. Generally a good, strong 90s cast of 20-somethings playing teenagers. Pretty much the normal. Few things I find interesting when learning about The Craft. All the behind the scenes stuff always interests me. It should be noted that I do have something of a filmmaking background, and I do like a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. Not so much the drama, I get enough drama in my actual job, but I do like to learn about some of the things that went into making the film, or some of the filmmaker's intentions, deleted scenes, etc. One of the things that I find kind of ironic with this movie is, according to the director, they were originally seeking a PG-13 rating, and they followed all the guidelines, trying to seek it so they could appeal to a wide audience, but then the film got an R rating because the entire subject matter of the movie was considered a bit dark, with a bunch of teenage girls who dabbled in witchcraft being the main theme. I found that really ironic and must have been incredibly frustrating. As I said, another one was, as it's just like those 6 degrees of separation. It's always like, it's for some reason nice to see, and I don't know why, I get a little tickle out of it. But Neve Campbell, Skeet Ulrich, played, again, both the heroine and, spoilers, the villain from the Scream movie 1996, that same year. It's also, as I said, most of the cast were in their 20s. Rachel True was actually almost 30 years old when the film was being made. There was also a considered sequel to the movie, which was going to focus on the Nancy character, but like many proposed ideas, it never came true. But I would have liked to have seen that. I liked the Nancy character, and as I said, I really like Fairuza Balk, and it would have just been nice to see her character explored a little more, whether they would have gone with a tragic character or have actually tried an early anti-hero movie, which is probably the reason they never bothered, because her character was basically shown as a villain. So they didn't really do anti-hero movies as much back in the late 90s, and if they did, they were things like Payback and stuff like that. They were kind of the macho male character usually, rather than an anti-hero who was a flawed villain of some kind. It was pretty formulaic. Now, coming to the end of that, we have my scoring of this movie. How do I rate it in the pantheon of movies that I have sat on my behind for so many years and lovingly embraced? Where do I rank this? What do I think of it? And of course I want to hear everyone else's thoughts on the craft as well if you're watching this. But I personally freaking love this movie. I absolutely love it. And again, it does help that I really love Nev Campbell and I really love Fairuza Balk and I love Skeet Ulrich. These are people that bring me a lot of joy in the movies that they have been in. And the craft, being someone who's got a feeling of a darker sense in general, and just love all things occult, mystical, and generally kind of creepy and strange, as I'm told I am. It's getting a full score. It's getting all 6. Woo! It's getting a 6. And that's a 6 out of 6 for anyone that's watched one of these, hasn't watched one of these before. And that's where this film sits for me. It is one of the quintessentially best films I remember. Now, a lot of it's nostalgia goggles. Of course, some of it's not aged well. Of course, there are things that are wrong with this movie, but I don't care about any of that. I enjoy it. And it's me who's scoring it. I'm not doing it for someone else. But I do highly recommend it, especially if you're a 90s kid like me, and if you've not seen it, or if you're generally interested in witchcraft. It's actually one of the best films that tackles that subject. It uses as a bit of a veil to basically cover for other subject matters, which sometimes modern movies and modern television do a little heavy-handedly. They kind of club fist you over the head with the message they're trying to teach you. Whereas this film, it's obviously realistically it's dealing with issues of social outcast, teen suicide, bullying, etc., etc. That something that's not really tackled, and is tackled very well, in my opinion, in anything that they make now. As I said, it's very ham-fisted and heavy-handed to deal with now. But there we have it. I give it a 6 out of 6. What do you give it? Let me know. Comments below. And before I quickly go, please check out my sponsor, Relentless Rebels. I recently received this wolf clasp chain from them, which I do really like. And I'm not going to say I like something just because they're a sponsor. If I didn't like it, I wouldn't have them in my video. I do like it, and I do like the things that they sell, so please check them out. If you do like them, use the promo code NERD20, all in capitals, at checkout, and you'll get a 20% discount. Really helps out my channel and my other 2 channels, actually, for that matter. To which, please like, share, subscribe, and comment down below. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, thank you, and bye bye.